Fighter and two people, that's it. Fighter in two corners, that's it.
What mark should we hit?
Brandon!
Pllana, 168. 168.
I did get another. I didn't know.
Brandon, whenever you're ready.
Come on the way, Chris. Yeah. Go.
168.
168.
168. Brandon, waiting on you.
Yeah, baby. Deep five. We'll put this work in there, baby. Yeah. They say it's time. Yeah. It is time.
Robinson up.
Oh, shit.
1669. 1669.
Back out it here, Mark Ames along with Dr. Andrew Foy. We just had our nighttime weigh-in. Jens Pllana, 168 pounds. Brandon Robinson, 166.9 here at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. Both guys looking tip-top shape, ready to go. They had their Jens Pllana is shadow boxing. Both guys had their say the other night to each other. Now they're going to square off.
Here we go.
We need you to fill the paper.
There it is.
We need you to fill the paperwork out.
There it is, baby.
What a face-off this is, Andrew.
Okay. There's nobody there to break it.
Easy work. It's on. Easy work. Fill it, baby. Fill it back in. Somebody, fill it back in. Yes, sir. Fill it. Make it go.
I think Marshall's going to break him up now.
Big eight. Big eight. Yeah. Big eight. Big eight.
Hold the key right there. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hey, Mark,
All right, guys, get ready.
Hey, Mark, what you think? What's it, Mark? He on foot, bro.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Lando. Yes, sir. Let's do this work, man.
Good guys. All right, Brandon.
Calm down.
Good way to kick off the night's activities, Andrew.
I would say, yeah. It's intense. These guys have been waiting to fight for a long time.
It's been at least 15 months. 15 months. Second time these two have weighed in, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
They didn't. They didn't weigh in. They were supposed to fight.
That was not. I know what you're talking. That event got canceled, but
I
this
thought they weighed in. No.
that was the one. That was the show last March
Yeah.
at Wind Creek. These guys were not the main event.
Oh,
of that.
what was the main event? I think Pllana
That
was.
no, that was Martino and Anvar Unisov.
You know, you're right. I was.
I mean, I should be right.
Yeah, no, you are right. You are right. You know, I was cooped up. I was disabled at that point.
It's true, and you've made a strong comeback.
Trying,
That's
man.
why you're the lineal champ of this.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. So let me. Should I turn the camera around? We could leave it like this if you want. I don't know.
Turn it around.
Turn it around. All right, hold on 1 minute.
No.
Just move the camera.
I'm also the one-man lineal production team. So Mark Abrams back here with Dr. Andrew Foy. We are here at the 2300 Arena. We just weighed in our main event between Brandon Robinson and Jens Pllana. What do you think after seeing that?
I mean, it's intense. I mean, there's a lot of tension between these two guys. They've been scheduled to fight for a long time. You know, they've had multiple kind of press conferences and interviews together over the last year, even before, you know, this fight was canceled the last time. So they've been ready to do this. I mean, I think both guys feel confident. They look like they're in great shape. I mean, Brandon looks like he's in the best shape I've ever seen him. Coming in at, you know, 1 pound under. So what can you say? I mean, they'll do their talking tomorrow night, I guess.
Yes, they will. We got people. Troy Fox. Sorry, we're a one-man production team, Troy. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good seeing you with your fighter, Greg Outlaw, before. So, yeah, I'm very excited. I was very excited about this fight when it was announced. I'm very excited about this fight now, and especially after that stare down.
Troy, there's nothing to point it at right now.
Well, I think he chimed in when they were doing the old stare down. So we shall see what goes on. So let's do what we did the last time. Let's go over the card. Before we had 6 fights to go over tonight for this installment. We have 7. So let's we'll get to the main event. Let's take from the bottom up. We got a welterweight fight between Elijah Morales, 7-0, 6 knockouts, out of Trenton, New Jersey, taking on Andres Abarca, 2-4, out of where is it? Andres from? Andres Abarca is from. Well, we weighing in and get our next weigh-in already. Hold on.
We have Neil Wheeler about to weigh in right now. His fight tomorrow night. 6-round super middleweight fight with Vincent Bacchus.
Kynell Wheeler 4-1, 4 knockouts, taking on Vincent Bacchus 4-2-1, 3 knockouts out of Oklahoma.
Wheeler, up.
$168.7. 168.7 pounds for Kynell Wheeler.
Where's Balthazar at?
He takes on Vincent Bacchus out of Oklahoma. We've seen before.
Wheeler has a lot of power. Expecting to see a knockout in this fight.
167.8.
167.8, so both guys comfortably make weight. Bacchus, who was stopped by our main event fighter for the afternoon session, Diva for Hardy in 5 rounds. Making a return trip to the 2300 arena here in Philadelphia.
Both face out. Both face this way.
So we got Bacchus coming off of 2 losses to undefeated guys for Hadi and Alexis Espino. He was stopped in 3 back in January of 2020. Now taking on Kennel Wheeler, who's 4-1. He wants to get back in the win column. He's come off a close unanimous decision defeat to Juan Carrillo in Miami back in January.
Doing that, go up around. Okay. Go ahead, do him real fast, take care of him.
Go home right now, boy.
Mark.
That'll be you. Get in person and together.
So we're back here. Wayne's going quick.
Yeah, it's unexpected based on how the afternoon went.
Is that Wayne over yet?
Yeah, right.
So we're back at it here. 2 of 7 fights in the books in terms of being weighed in. So let's try to start this again. We're going to start this again. Let's start with Eric Monroe making his pro debut against Rowdy Lolo, 0-1. Monroe recently signed the King's promotion. To give me a little scouting report on him.
Good fighter. He's been boxing for a while. I guess he had some break in terms of his amateur career, and then decided to turn pro. He's with Team Pivot, and I think he is a strong fighter. He's a good puncher. I think this is a really interesting fight because it is his debut. I don't think he's fought amateur in quite a while. He's in a good gym, great sparring with, obviously with Brandon Robinson, with Latif Overton and others there. But Rowdy Lolo comes to fight. He is, his one draw was like a blood and guts war with Mike DiOrio, who's a real tough kid from New York. And, Rowdy was at King's Gym not that long ago, sparring Kennel Wheeler. And apparently, that was an extremely competitive spar. And, of course, sparring is not a real fight, but you can take a lot away from it, especially when you have 2 guys, that aren't regular sparring partners. They tend to really be motivated to show what they have. So I think that surprised Marshall and also myself when he told me about it. So I'm expecting this to be a very exciting fight. And I think a lot of it's going to depend for Monroe in terms of how he's able to control his emotions and that kind of anxiety. This is his first pro fight, and Rowdy Lolo is just a fighter. He just comes straight forward and bangs. And so it's very, very easy to get wrapped up in a fight like this and to just kind of blow your load early. And because Lolo will be able to do that for the whole fight.
I see that Monroe, he's about 6'2". He's pretty tall for middleweight.
Yeah. No, I mean, Eric is a, big 168. He definitely has a lot of great assets. but he's fighting a real tough opponent tomorrow. So I mean, this is one of those really interesting fights. I mean, probably, pretty close to 50-50 on paper. I think it's one of the things that makes King's promotion shows so unique. I mean, that we put these kind of fights, competitive fights on with these early career guys, and they're both coming to win. So I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm looking forward to it. One of the ones I'm looking forward to the most out of both shows.
Absolutely, and then that kicks off the night. But I mean, so like we've been saying all day, it's all these fights have storylines to them. Interesting storyline, not just the is this guy going to move forward in his career or whatnot. Like, you just really made a case for both guys in this for this first fight, which on paper you see a pro debut guy who's hasn't had a lot of amateur experience in a long time against 0-1, and you just and I don't think you weren't doing it just doing promoter speak. It was just you really broke it down.
And I know both of these fighters. I like both of these fighters. I don't have an emotional favorite. I think it's just going to be a really good fight.
So Jonathan Rodriguez, we're gonna.
Put your stuff up here. John, you ready? Step up, pal. Rodriguez, 119.7. 119.7. Balthazar. 117.5. 117.5? Yes. Guys, put your shorts on and square off. Cameras. Save everything for the ring.
Both face out. Both face out. Guys.
Yeah, man.
We can take this one. He's doing that.
So we just had the weigh-in for Jonathan Rodriguez and Sebastian Balthazar. This is another fight. This is extremely intriguing fight.
Well, before you get that, before you eloquently break this down, I think the commissioner, you must have about 6-7 o'clock reservation somewhere.
This is surprising.
So before I rudely interrupt you, let's talk Jonathan Rodriguez and Sebastian Balthazar.
Yeah, so Jonathan is one of our top prospects. Last fight on ESPN, he suffered his first loss. Very competitive fight, ended up being stopped in the later rounds. Jonathan was fine. It was a ref stoppage. And this is his first fight, back after that. He's been in training camp with some world champions since that time. And he's looking to rebound and get back to his winning ways. He's a very exciting fighter. But he's got a real live dog in front of him. I mean, this guy's record's 1-4, but he doesn't view himself as an underdog in this fight. His last two fights were with Jeremy Adorno. He lost a 4-round decision, and then he had a majority decision loss to Rasheem Brown, who's known to the Philly fans. He's a very good prospect himself. So, this kid's coming to win this fight.
Mr. Eggers has a question. So, as a promoter, you want to answer this gentleman?
The ticket, if you come to the box office or the will call, you can get tickets tomorrow night.
It's not sold out?
Well, it is sold out, but we may be making more standing room only tickets for tomorrow night.
This is why I have the promoter on, or one of the promoters on, because he can break down fights in one breath, and the next breath he can tell you the ticket availability.
Well, and this has been really tough for us to kind of as promoters, because the number of tickets that can be available has continued to change since we set this
It's a
date.
good problem to have.
It's not a bad problem to have, yeah. So even there's been more tickets that have become that we were told could be made available within the last week, and so we're going to take advantage of that. We've sold out all the tickets that we have printed in anticipation.
Do you know what the capacity is right about now, or?
I don't want to say something that might potentially be wrong, but
Okay.
I think it's possible that they could do full capacity if they chose to. But that
Gotcha.
information only became available to us within the last couple days.
Yeah, because I know,
We did not sell we only put out about 600 or 700 tickets for sale.
Was 600 is about half, right?
About half, yeah. And that was, essentially why we estimated doing these two shows like this instead of doing one show with 12 fights, to break it down this way. So both shows, the number of tickets that were pre-printed have been sold out. But with this new information, we can probably have more people come and get standing room tickets at the box office.
It's great. It's great. It means the world's starting to open up. We saw right down the road on Wednesday night the Sixers game. They had what their capacity is now. I think they said there was about, even though the place holds, on a normal close to 20,000, they made 15,000 tickets available. They're all gobbled up for the playoff game against Washington, and I expect that to be the case. I don't know if there's going to be any more tickets. I know they're draping off seats behind the bench, and they're not putting seats in the end zones behind the basket like they normally do, but all the other tickets gone. So I expect that to be the case Sunday afternoon right down the street, Wells Fargo Center. I'm actually going to give the Sixers a play. Big Sixers fan. 1 o'clock, the Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young, John Collins, Clint Capella. Probably going to lose in 5 games, all the Atlanta Hawks, but that's neither here nor there. You're not much of a basketball guy, right?
No, I'm not.
Just a boxing guy and golf.
Boxing and golf, yeah, pretty much football.
It's kind of like these are like the two opposite ends of the spectrum. Golf is like
They
a
are.
gentleman's game, and boxing.
Very different, yeah.
Well, we don't know many gentlemen in this business. So, no, there's plenty of gentlemen. So where were we? Well, before we were rudely interrupted before these weigh-ins.
Well, we were talking about that last fight, and it's going to be this is a really interesting fight. Obviously, Jonathan wants to get back in the win column. Sebastian Balthazar looks on paper, if you don't really know boxing and you don't know how to use BoxRec, looks like 1-4. It should be an easy win. This guy is coming to fight. That's all that can be said. I mean, look at the win probability based on the BoxRec odds.
55 to 40.
And believe me, that's a very scientific how they do that.
Sure, there's algorithms
Yeah.
and computers and
Yep.
carrying the 3 times pi,
Right.
one of those kind of things.
Right. So, look, that's a great fight. That is a great fight.
Which fight are you looking to for beside the main event? Is there one out there that interests you the most on the 8 o'clock show?
So the Lolo Monroe fight is very interesting to me. But more so than that, just because of the levels of where these guys are in their career, Bernardine and Morales. That's going to be fireworks. Both of these guys were, fairly accomplished amateurs, not necessarily being national level, but very accomplished amateur fighters. Bernardine was a Pennsylvania State Golden Gloves champ. Morales has some pretty big tournament wins as a junior. Didn't do a whole lot of amateur boxing after he was over the age of 18, but just both are really I think fairly high quality guys. Morales is a boxer puncher. Bernadine is just a puncher, pressure fighter, and a big step up fight in terms of level of competition as pros for both of these guys. And I just think they're both going to rise to the occasion. I mean, I've promoted all of Morales's fights, and I've promoted all of James Bernadine's fights. And one thing I've always thought about Morales, even knowing him in the gym and seeing some of the gym wars he's been in, he rises to the level of competition. So if you put lower level competition in front of him, whether it's sparring or even in the real fights, you're not going to see the best of him. And so I think that we're going to see the best of Morales tomorrow night, and I think Bernadine is not going to back down, 1 inch.
Bernadine, who's with King's Promotions, obviously.
They both are.
Okay, that actually makes my question a little bit easier then. I know you're not picking a side or anything like that. May the best man win. But inside you pull a little extra bit for a guy like Morales, because like you said, you started him. You've been with him since day one.
I started Bernadine too.
Okay, all right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no.
So you must be torn during this fight then.
I want to see both guys look good. I mean, I
only
think
one guy can win.
It could be a draw. I mean, this is a fight that could be a draw.
Then neither guy wins.
But I think they both win in the sense of, these are both two guys that want to have careers in this sport, but they don't have enough of the amateur pedigree to kind of merit a major investment. So they got to prove that they're in this for real and they're in it to win it. And this is the kind of fights that prove that. You see at what we do with fighters like a James Martin. I mean, you don't have to be an undefeated fighter, or Jens Pllana with King's Promotions, to get on television, to win on television, and to have a real career in this sport. So I think both of these guys can have careers in this sport. We're going to see, if one of them wants it more than the other tomorrow night. And I think there's a possibility that they're both going to look good and they're both going to improve their stock after this fight tomorrow night.
I mean, that's the
and it could end in a dramatic knockout because Bernadine has that kind of eraser power. I'm not sure that Morales does.
I mean, that's the best of scenario, I guess, that they just put up a great fight, and we see what happens. So, I mean, like we said it during the first part of the day, there's no other boxing tomorrow. So, all the boxing fans out there, to get your boxing fix, you can get it twice. Whether you're here at the 2300 Arena or you get the stream on bxngtv.com. Rich Quinones making on the call. He'll be joined by Alicia Baumgartner. Do you have any news to break on Alicia about what may be in her future?
Unfortunately, no. We're working really hard. Marshall's working really hard to get her network fight. I mean, we think that she merits that. And, we've said from the beginning that we thought that she could not only be a female star in the sport of boxing, but she could even break out beyond. I mean, she has signed a modeling contract over the last couple months with a high level agency.
I had to turn them down.
Well, I heard that they talked to her after you turned them down.
Which
makes a lot of sense.
I opened it up for her. But yeah, I know that there were rumblings, talks, maybe a Michaela Mayer fight at one point. Was that close? And obviously she's fighting coming up. I think either within the next couple of weeks. You think that could be in the cards for her? Somewhat sooner rather than later.
So the official word is that that was a fight that was agreed to be made and that Top Rank tried to make. We agreed to it. Alicia agreed immediately to all the terms.
Still missing.
Okay.
They want to know.
Alicia agreed to the terms straight out that they laid out. We did not try to negotiate anything. And what we were told was that the Nevada State Athletic Commissioner rejected that fight. I find that very hard to believe. Alicia is 9-1. She's ranked number 2 in the WBA.
No comment.
And
Yeah, my weakness was 0.7 over.
Yeah, hold on.
And Alicia's only loss was to
A world champion,
Christine
Christina,
Lenardadu. Yeah, two-time world champion.
and who's a world champion 2 weight classes
Right.
above her too.
And the thing to know about that fight is it was a very close
It was a close
split
fight.
decision, and depending on who you root for, you saw that fight going either way. And so, I just find it really hard to believe that fight was turned down, but that is the official word from Top Rank. And I mean, who are we to? I'm not going to call them liars, but I have a hard time believing that. So we're working to try to get Alicia something else on that level. I mean, I think if Alicia were to fight Michaela, I would favor Alicia in that. Favor Alicia right now over any of the 130-pound champions.
Yeah, I mean that's very surprising that happened. It's the first time I just heard it just didn't happen for whatever reason. Fights don't happen. I did not hear that reason before. So she'll be on the call with Rich Quinones. I'll be doing all the post-fight interviews. Maybe they'll pan to Andrew Foy in the crowd, maybe to get some ratings up if needed. I don't think they're going to need it because I think this is a Dynamite show. Dynamite 2 shows, 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock Eastern time, bxngtv.com. I see the head of it, Adam Glenn, running around here. He's taking the pictures, getting ready for the tail of the tapes and so forth and so on. I see Marshall is working, doing what the promoters do at weigh-ins. And
let me take a quick break so I can help make a couple calls right now.
Go for it.
Do you want me to get you a fighter to interview?
No, I'm good. You know what we'll do? I want to promote King's Promotions, so we'll for a couple minutes we'll just go blank and put the camera on the King's Promotions thing.
Yeah, it came in at 119.7. I don't have that contract in front of me yet. Okay. Johnny! Eric, just hold it up until we get to this there.
Six on the first show, seven.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is, video, have you guys on that study? On Rodriguez, yeah. Yeah, there's the two NA's allowed to cut me in, I think tomorrow. Okay. Well, we don't have to fill that out.
All right.
You want to get up your play first thing when you come in. You ready to go with, you're done, you're done.
On route. On route. Who's in your corner? One guy? Left, Mark. Elijah Morales. Elijah Morales. Yo, Bob.
We are back here at the 2300 Arena in South Philadelphia, where we are continuing the second weigh-in of the day of our evening session. We already had the main event weigh-in with Brandon Robinson checking in at 166.9 pounds. His opponent, Jens Pllana, right on the super middleweight limit of 168 pounds. Mark Ames will be joined again by Dr. Andrew Foy, partner with King's Promotions, and we'll be back here. Should be back here any minute. as we close in on the rest of our weigh-in. We still have James Bernardine and Osvaldo Morales to weigh in, Elijah Morales and Andres Abarca to weigh in, Rashid Johnson, Rafiq Muhammad, as well as Eric Monroe and Rowley Lolo. So just waiting on those gentlemen to step onto the scale. If anyone has any questions, anyone talks some boxing here, anything about Manny Pacquiao take on Errol Spence Jr., as well as Deontay Wilder making his third fight with Tyson Fury. Any boxing questions will be here to answer until the weigh-in is gone.
Joe, do you have Brandon Robinson's contract?
And that's just the typical sounds you hear to weigh in with the paperwork that gets done. It's a whole thing. I know a lot of people see these weigh-ins on TV for some of these major fights, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on before you see them hit the stage. So got all the commissioners right behind us. These fights can be seen live tomorrow on bxngtv.com. Again, Rich Quinones on the call with Alicia Baumgardner. I'll be handling all the post-fight interviews all day and all night, beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern, both shows. I believe I don't have the price point. I believe it could be $19.95, if I'm not mistaken, for each show. But I think it's well worth it. Andrew Foy has told you a lot of great storylines when it comes to these fights. Trying to get Andrew back here. Helping things out with promoter Marshall Kaufman. Anyone out there of any fighters that are particularly interested in seeing tomorrow during the broadcast, especially if you're here live at the here's James Bernardine. I got Andrew Foy back here. I just want to, since I'm a one man, I'm going to move the camera a little bit. Andrew, so okay, I'm not paying you extra. So you want to move it down? You want to move it down too a little bit? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. That's actually pretty good. That actually might be our best shot of the day.
It's hard work.
It is hard work, but that's what I say. This could be our best view of the day.
They don't pay me for nothing.
So what was going on? Fighter getting here late? That never happens now, does it?
Right. Hey, that's standard.
It's amazing. We banged those 3 quick weigh-ins, bang, 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 and we just hit a snail's halt here.
Yeah. Well, what were we talking about?
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the Rodriguez Balthazar fight.
There you go. The Balthazar, you were saying he's 1-4, but he's a tough 1-4. Jeremy Odona loses the majority to Rasheed Brown, who we know in these parts of the world here, who's been fighting regularly here in Philadelphia, from Philadelphia, West Philly. He's actually Percy Custis. He's, I believe, a nephew maybe of Percy Custis. So, yeah, I mean, you look at it, you see the four losses, 2 of them majority decision losses, all decision losses.
Yeah. No, he's coming to win this fight. He thinks he's going to win. And he's confident. So that makes for, another great fight.
And Rodriguez is 8-1. He's trying to get back in the winning column as he's coming off his only defeat. He went out to Vegas, fought on a top-ranked card, was stopped in 5 to 8-0 Manuel Flores. So, we talked to him on the press conference the other day. He said he learned a lot from that fight. He stepped up. He went to Vegas, fought on national television. And despite, him taking the L that night, he learned a lot.
He learned a lot. And look at what the judges' scores were at the time that the fight was stopped. I mean, it was a razor-close fight. 38-37 twice for Flores and 38-37 for Rodriguez. Yeah, so, I mean, it was a razor-thin fight until it was stopped. He learned a lot. After that fight, he actually was in training camp with Jason Maloney. So I think I think that was a positive experience for him, and we're going to see some growth in him as a fighter tomorrow.
You think if he dominates a guy like Balthazar, who really hasn't been dominated in his career yet with those 4 losses, you think if he dominates a guy like Balthazar, that makes a big statement?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, nobody's dominated Balthazar yet. So if he dominates Balthazar, that's a very big statement.
And Rodriguez is still just 22 years old. He's already had 9 fights, been a pro since 2018. So, I mean, his best fights are most definitely ahead of himself.
Right. And he's a good kid. I mean, he's can't say anything negative about him. He's very dedicated. He has a good head on his shoulders. He has a good training team behind him. So he can go far in the sport. That one loss, isn't going to define him.
One fight that we haven't talked about was the 6-round welterweight clash with Rashid Johnson and Rafiq Muhammad. Johnson 7-3. When we first saw him, he was knocking some people out, and he looked like a real prospect. Had a couple setbacks, and I was just standing next to him over there. I think he's gotten taller.
Oh, we got another weigh-in.
Another weigh-in.
Yeah, we're about to weigh in. Bradley Lolo is fighting Eric Monroe. Monroe from Pivot Boxing Gym in Philly is making his debut. Lolo has one professional fight. He had a draw. He's from Harrisburg, Cameron Street Boxing Club. About to weigh in. This is definitely the fittest I've ever seen Rowley look.
Mr. Lolo, up. 1586. 1586. Lolo? Correct.
Rashid Johnson. Oh, man. It's a long night. That is. It ain't even gonna be a long night. Okay.
All right. As soon as you're done, we're going to wait in. All right? Wait here.
Just waiting for Eric Monroe to step on the scale.
Got 2 more pounds here. I'll have that.
Excuse me, Ken.
Hey, Mark. You got to take it, Mark. You got you get ready to something too?
Go to the left, start off, up box. Andre? Andreas. You go down and start them on the point.
And you two men, There you go, Jerry. There you go. You go to carry it. Come on right there. Whoa! Whoa! You go to carry it right there.
Monroe up.
That's good. That's good. That's what hard work looks like.
1596.
Hard work. Hard work.
It's a short one, they used to square off.
Hard work. Let's get it.
Guys, remember, save the energy for tomorrow.
One more shot.
Let's get it, killer. Let's get it.
Thank you.
Oh, shit. You can't miss it, man. Let's get the biggest shit. You got it, man. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you carrying that, W. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Eric,
You can see his heart coming out of his chest, right? Yeah. Yeah. You can see his mitt. You don't want that word. Come on, take stop playing.
Roddy, you already
I'll tell you what. You stare down to the night session have been a lot. They trump the ones from the early session.
They do. These guys bring a lot of intensity tonight.
So what did you think of that? It's our first glimpse of Eric Monroe. What'd you think of that? He, like you said, Lolo. He's a tough guy. He didn't back down and stare down. Not that these guys ever really do, but you know, what do you make of that?
I mean, Monroe looks great. You know, I can't think you can take too much away from that. I mean, they're both ready. They both are confident. You know, I will say, knowing Rodley for a bit longer, this is definitely the thinnest I've ever seen him. He's come down in weight a lot. He started a little later in the sport. That suggests to me, from a cardio standpoint, he's going to be better than ever. And that might be bad news for Monroe, because the guy has an engine on him. He doesn't stop punching.
So that should be an interesting thing. So we got Lolo, Monroe, we got Backus and Wheeler, we got Rodriguez and Balthazar. Just looking on Johnson, Muhammad, and Morales Abarca, and Bernardine Morales as well. So we got 3 left, right?
We do, yeah.
3 more. Hopefully that we can bang these out as quick as the first 3 went.
Maybe. Well, do we have 3? We have 2. The main event already went.
But Bernardine Morales.
Oh, you're right.
Morales and Abarca. And
Yeah.
I like when you say I'm right. Not that often, but it happens.
Say it when it's true, Mark.
Say it was. So let's the Bernardine Morales fight. You're very high on that fight. Elijah Morales and Abarca. That's a fight that we really haven't talked much about.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fighter that he's not in the Kings promotion stable, but he's trains with Chino Rivas. And, you know, this is kind of one of those situations similar to Bermudez, where, you know, Chino Rivas doesn't really bother with fighters that aren't at least at a certain level. Morales is 7-0. You know, some of these fights have been fed to him a bit, you can see. But I suspect that he has the goods, which is why people are willing to make this investment in him and do this. You know, working with Chino Rivas, I'm sure he's going to look like a very skilled fighter. You know, and I would expect him to win this fight.
Yeah, and Andres Abarca, who's just fought here on April 3rd, went the distance with undefeated Tamir Smalls. Got dropped a couple times in the fight. You see that he's lost. He actually has a win over 3-0 Daquan Wyatt. So, you know, I don't know how good Wyatt is, but he defeated a 3-0 guy. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that he. This isn't going to be one of those fights where it looks like they don't deserve to be in the same ring.
Yeah.
You know, I suspect he's going to hold his own. I think Morales will win the fight, and he's going to look like the better fighter. But I think that it'll be competitive.
Well, here's what concerns me. You say, hey, he beat the 3-0 guy. Then he comes right back and drops a unanimous decision to a guy 3-8-2.
Yeah.
So that's where you kind of
This is a guy that he hasn't been stopped. He's going the distance in his fights. So, I think he he's going to be able to handle himself in the ring. At least for some period of time.
tie up some loose ends here. So it's been a long day. So we just a couple more to go, and I tell you what, you made me. I mean, I was excited about this show to begin with. I was excited about the show to begin with, but you're making me really excited for some of these fights.
Yeah, I mean, some of these fights between these local fighters are as good as you're going to get, because we know that a lot of times when there's competitive kind of second, you almost want to call them like second tier prospects, right? I mean, if they're not blue chip prospects, but they have amateur backgrounds, or they're known in the area to be tough guys or something like that. A lot of times, you don't see those kind of fighters fight each other. And we're trying to make that happen because, as I said, I mean, they're not blue chippers. And we need to see, if both fighters fight well, then it's a notch in both of their belts, really, from our standpoint. But, we got to see what these guys are made of.
Exactly. I mean, you see these fights, Rashid Johnson's the hometown guy fighting a guy 4-0. I mean, you don't see that a lot. You have Bernardine and Morales, who are both undefeated. Robinson,
not just both undefeated, but both with reasonably good amateur pedigrees as well. I mean, that is a very high level fight between, I'd say they're probably the best lightweight prospects in the state, behind somebody like a Joseph Adorno, and both of those guys spar Joseph Adorno quite competitively. So, this is a high level fight.
And then you take Brandon Robinson. It's a very interesting case here. We all saw the fight. Calvin Henderson was Calvin's coming out party that night. Just a terrific performance. Robinson wasn't his best night.
It was Calvin's coming out party, but Brandon did fracture his orbit in that fight.
But where I'm going with this, he comes back where, you say to yourself, maybe we've seen the best of Brandon Robinson. He comes back and wins 4 in a row. Devon Lee's a decent fighter, got a couple knockouts, knocked out Josue Abando in 2 rounds. So he has shown that not only didn't that loss didn't, may set him back on his record, but didn't set him back in terms of mentally, which a lot of fighters, after suffering those kind of injuries, all the blood, the knockdowns and all that, most fighters easily just go the other way on that. He's rebounded nicely 4 in a row. Pllana, as we mentioned before, is, awkward as can be. He's really dying for a win now. He loses to Sando, fight on national TV. Then he tried to avenge his first loss against Rafael Igbokwe, and he loses a split decision there. So he needs to get back, in the win column. He drew with Henderson, beats Kevin Newman the second on Showbox. So Gents wants to get back on that stage and prove that he is worthy of fighting on the FS1 shows and the Showbox shows and even beyond.
And I would say both of those losses to Igbokwe they're very controversial.
Majority and splits.
He went to his hometown, went on, came in as the B-side on his promoter's card. And, an easy case could be made that he won both of those fights. I mean, the fight with Sando, I did think that Sando won that fight. And maybe, what Brandon has said is that Sando kind of exposed him to some extent, showed the blueprint for beating him. We'll see if that's true or not. But I do think that that's a fight that is a total 50-50 in my eyes. And I think that's as good of a main event as you can possibly get on a show that's not on network television. Because both, as we said, Gents has fought on network television 2 of his last 3 fights.
And you know what? And the funny thing is, Robinson wants to be where Gents has been.
Yeah.
He wants a taste of that. A win, 16-2. See him on a showbox. I see him on an FS1 show. I see him, on a bigger platform. To step up and face a tougher opponent. 16-2 might do it for him.
I think, yeah, definitely that's true. But, the other thing with Brandon, he has changed trainers since that loss to Calvin Henderson. He's now with Sharon Baker, who is, great, almost, I don't want to say legendary because she's not old enough to be legendary yet, but one of the
around
best
around these parts, she is.
She's one of
a real trailblazer to boot on top of that.
So he's training with her. He's pretty much the main training partner for Atif Overton. That's given him, I think, a ton of confidence. And then also, throw Eric Monroe in the mix. And, Pivot Boxing Gym it's a great gym. I've been down there several times. Lando Rosa and his son have done they've done a tremendous job with it. I mean, it's just it's a great gym. I mean, it's gritty, but it's not.
I'm surprised they let you in North Philly.
Anyway, but they got a great gym. They got a great team. I think that we still might see the best of Brandon Robinson yet. I'm expecting to.
He's hit another stride. He was striding, lose to Anderson. Like I said, a lot of fighters, especially post 30 years old, a lot of them just.
The one thing though about the loss to Henderson that I think, again, to me, I don't want to say it doesn't count. It certainly counts. Calvin fought a great fight that fight, but that fight was extremely close. And those orbit fractures are kind of, like when that fight was stopped and Brandon went down the second time. I said to Marshall, I said, I don't think he went down because of like a concussive punch. He's in a lot of physical pain right now in his eye with that injury. And you saw in the Billy Joe Saunders Canelo fight, sometimes those injuries don't look very impressive, but you can tell when they happen because when the orbit is fractured, you don't get a lot of outward swelling because the orbit's fractured. So what happens is they don't look like bad injuries. They're incredibly painful, and they're really not something that people can fight through. People say, oh, that didn't look like anything compared to like this gruesome hematoma or something like that. But they're not really injuries that can be fought through.
If I didn't know you any better, I would say you were a doctor. You sound like one.
So that is really a key thing to remember about the Calvin fight. Again, not taking anything away from Calvin because he fought a brilliant fight, he deserved to win. But Brandon was winning that fight on the judges' scorecards until it was stopped, and that fight won a Briscoe Award for Fight of the Year. So
absolutely.
There's nothing to be not proud of in a loss. Like I think sometimes we make too much of losses. There's nothing to hang your head over with something like that.
I agree sometimes. I definitely agree. And it won the Briscoe Fight of the Year, and it takes two guys to win a Fight of the Year. So it's not like he wasn't doing anything himself in there. So
right.
There's a lot of commotion going on back here.
It's probably the pivot guys.
I don't know if there's a fight going on back there or whatever. So we went in. Hold on, another way in.
So Andres Pessoa like you. They're going to do that in the next. Go ahead. You're 28 years old, right? Oh, man. Stay still. 145, even.
Is Andres Sabak on the scale right now, fighting Elijah Morales.
Hey, you got the doctor. Yeah,
Yeah. I just want to give him time to train his way. Now you're going to start the next one. He's with the doctor. He's with the doctor right now. He's coming. You can start on the next show. Rafiq Muhammad.
Rafiq Muhammad. Rafiq Muhammad.
No. Here goes. Yep.
Elijah Morales stepping to the scale right now.
Morales up. $146.
146, Ian.
146.3. Good man. That's the square off. So the energy could walk, right?
Back up over here.
Back up, guys.
They want to get the
There you go, there you go. You wanna get the KP in there, can't not have the KP.
Full face out. Full face out. Guys,
Gentlemen.
Nice guys.
Another one like this?
Yeah, that's the one. Elijah. A bit more potential. Get it side.
You know, you took 1 quarter more.
Yeah. Second fight.
Tilt it down a little, Mark.
And we're back here at the 23 arena. That was Abarca and Morales.
Both made weight.
So just Rashid Johnson, Rafiq Muhammad, and James Bernardino Alvaro Morales to go on our program here tonight. See if anyone's here. If anyone wants to chime in, we'll be more than happy to answer your questions.
I just want to make another point about the fight with Robinson and Pllana tomorrow night, because it's such an interesting fight to handicap. You know, you have to think that Pllana may come in with the edge in confidence. You know, even though he's lost his last 2 fights, in his mind, he really believes that he beat Calvin Henderson. Calvin Henderson beat Brandon, and you know, how much difference does confidence make? You know, but I also think that Brandon's going to be confident as well. You know, because on the other hand, he feels like he's a new fighter now with a new trainer, coming off, like you said, the 4 wins in a row, coming off the canvas in his last fight. And, Gents in our press conference kind of downplayed that and said that, you almost lost to a guy who was kind of like a shot fighter with an upside down record. But Josue Obando punches like a mule.
Mm-hmm.
And, even though his record's bad, that guy is a veteran fighter. And for Brandon to come off the canvas like he did, still be on kind of shaky legs, and then, land a devastating punch and, to win the fight like he did, it's hard to say who has the confidence edge in this fight. I think both guys are going to go into it extremely confident, and that's going to make it an even better fight.
Should be an excellent fight. When Marshall told me he was making this fight, started getting excited because I'm one of these people that likes to think about when I see a fight, what's in it for the winner. You know what I mean? I like to I not that I skip over the fight, but I like to say, okay, the winner goes where, and like I just said, the winner of this fight gets back on a big national forum, which always means more of this stuff, more mucho dinero, the kind of stuff that Andrew Foy walks around with, a lot of mucho dinero.
Don't. That's fake news.
So, but yeah, I mean that's what it's all about. It's prize fighting, and there's a prize at the end of this fight.
Absolutely, yeah.
And even for some of these other fights, the Bernardine Morales, 2 guys who fought at a high level. But Bernardine's about 28 years old. Even though he's only 3-0-1, time for him to move. And the way to move when you're 28 years old, when you've only had 4 fights, is fight a guy who's undefeated and that can accelerate. It's almost like 2 wins in 1.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
And Elijah Morales, we just saw him weigh in. What were your thoughts on him? Like you said, trained by Chino Rivas.
Yeah, all I can really say about him are things that I would just infer from the fact that he has a good record. He trains with Chino Rivas. He looks like a powerful fighter just with his physique. He's kind of short for a welterweight, and you wonder if that could be a problem later in his career as he progresses to a higher level. But it looks like an extremely, powerful guy.
We'll skip over Rashid Johnson because we still have him to weigh in. Jonathan Rodriguez, you've mentioned before. Balthazar is a real tough little guy. Rodriguez, again, coming off the loss, needs to have a good showing out there to get his confidence back. He said he learned a ton being in camp, with the loss and being in camp with Jason Maloney. So, Jonathan Rodriguez has it's a lot of proving tomorrow night. A lot of proving.
Yeah, definitely.
Wheeler and Bacchus should be a very good action fight. That leads us to Monroe, and Lolo will be kicking off the show right at 8 o'clock. A long day here down at the 2300 Arena, but you know what? We've been waiting 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, for me, it's a really complete show. The 3 can't miss fights, I wouldn't be able to miss is Monroe Lolo, Bernardine Morales, and then of course the main event. But even in between there, those fights are all interesting. And depending on who you're a fan of, who those sorts of things, it might be more so for you.
Khalil Johnson, Brandon with his new trainer will be a problem.
Certainly a reasonable proposition.
Now, is this his first fight with Sharon?
Yeah.
And obviously Lando's still part of the management team, and with Team Pivot. So and Sharon Baker, who's a disciple of the late great Nazim Richardson, has been in many corners with Steve Cunningham and Jamal Davis early in his career. And is that Harrisburg, Jamal Davis? He's still living in Harrisburg?
Lives in Harrisburg. I don't think you can call him Harrisburg's Jamal Davis. So he's a Philly guy through and through.
Well, the thing is, wherever you get your mail, that's where you're saying. But yeah, but we agree, Khalil. He's, it could be a whole new and improved Brandon Robinson tomorrow night here at the 2300 Arena. As we are, it's only been a 5-hour weigh-in. Just checking the time.
Rashid Johnson.
think they're calling Rashid Johnson, so I imagine him and Rafiq Muhammad will be the next to tip the scales.
You know, it is odd how fast the first three of these
It's
happen.
weird,
and
and it's, and
slowed
then
down.
hit a wall. So how about that we won't say where we got it from, but how was your steak sandwich in between
It's
weigh-ins?
good. I appreciate that.
Good.
That's why I have so much energy right now. I was fading at the end of the last broadcast.
And there was mayonnaise on it.
Well, it was either that or melted cheese, but it was good nonetheless.
I admit I screwed up not ordering him mayonnaise. I ran and got the cheesesteaks from a place. Anyway, they're not paying us. That's why
That's right.
I mentioned them. I forgot there's another place, again, I won't mention, which actually is right here. I've never eaten there. So
Well, I heard the line was outside that place.
Yeah.
So
it's a very small place. So you have a favorite cheesesteak in town without mentioning its name?
you know, because I'm on the Mark Abrams show, I have to be honest. And I love Philadelphia. I lived in Philadelphia for many years.
You
I
did?
went to school here. I lived in Philly for like 10 years.
Yeah, where else?
Center City, South Philly. I don't like Philly cheesesteaks.
Okay.
I like Philly. It was good,
Well,
but I
you're-
think
you're-
when people talk about like the best cheesesteaks, I think you find them in kind of like hoagie shops and stuff, and outside of Philly. Personally,
If I'm not mistaken, you grew up in the Joe Biden area,
I
correct?
did. Yes, I did. Yeah.
So what's your favorite Philly delicacy then? Since you obviously been here, you lived here 10 years and back a number of times.
I really don't. I don't know that I have a favorite Philly delicacy. Yeah,
No, you can tell we're trying to fill here.
we're trying to fill. All the little Italian BYO places are
Okay.
always good. I enjoy those places. You don't get places like that in too many.
So you're a pasta guy, you're a fish guy, or what?
I do it all when I'm there.
There you go.
Now, what about you?
What about me? I like everything. I literally like everything, but the best sandwich in town, and I'm going to say the name. Sorry, I'm just going to say the name. 22nd and Jackson, or 20th and Jackson, Nick's roast beef is the greatest sandwich you'll ever eat.
Never had that. Well, we had a.
I'm trying to think. We probably won't have time in between. Actually, we would. It's not that far from here.
James Burton, butter and corner people.
But Philadelphia is just a phenomenal town. It just really is. But yeah, it's unbelievable. And the best pizza. Let me give you the best pizza. It's right in my neighborhood.
A place across the street from your house.
What's that?
Across the street from your house.
Not across the street from my house. Oh no, you talking about these?
Yeah.
No,
Oh man, no.
no, I'm not gonna.
We can't say that name.
No, because I just ripped it. It's a place called Angelo's Pizza, 9th and Fitzwater. Anyone who's watching this, go there. You'll thank me later. It is so good, dude.
I haven't had that.
It's.
I'm surprised you don't like the
No,
place.
yeah, it's okay, but it's A, touristy. B, it's like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a once in a blue moon kind of thing.
I personally like to go there after the shows.
So you do go
it's a
there.
good oh yeah, I was there.
Do you ever do the Philly taco?
No.
You know what that is?
Yeah, I haven't done that. I think I would like that. Though.
There was a fighter who fought on another show here, and he's from out of state, and he said that's what I guess he knew about it, and that's what he wanted to do after his fight. I don't know if he did it though. I said, I live right behind, right near all those places, and.
But you know what's a good place that you live right near? It has my name in it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It burned down, but now it's back up.
Oh, it did burn down.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Talking about Bridget Foy's. Yes, horrible fire, burned the whole thing down. It just reopened, I'd say, in the past 4 to 6 months. So like in the wintertime, it opened.
You know, the thing that I always liked about Philadelphia as a city was that it's obviously it has a big city feel. Of course, if you're somebody from like New York City, you don't think it has a big city feel. But even though it feels like a big city to most people, you can get around the entire city by foot, you know, like in one day if you want. At least I feel that way. I mean, I walked everywhere when I lived in Philly.
That's a great place. It's a tremendous place. Anyone else? Come on, we help us out. Let's. We didn't think the weigh was going to last this one. We didn't prepare this much material. So if anyone who's watching, just chime in. It's okay. Don't hide behind the keyboard. We're all friends here, right? Like Khalif Johnson, Khalif Johnson and R.B. Eggers, Troy Fox watching from somewhere around this town. He's around somewhere. He was here with this fighter earlier, Greg Outlaw.
Probably at the Holiday Inn Express.
There you go. So you're staying under an assumed name, though, right?
That's right.
So if you're looking to try to find him tonight, you won't guess the name.
Ready, guys?
There we go. I think Khalif Johnson and Muhammad. Rashid Johnson. I got Khalif.
Yo, she, let's go.
Rafiq, let's go.
Yo, she, you good?
Rafiq Muhammad, all. 152. Mr. Rashid.
What's Muhammad rank?
152.
He was with
That shit low.
all the time, boy. Still gonna stretch you. Still gonna stretch you.
So Muhammad comes in a bit overweight.
That's 5'2". Ain't gonna help you. Short, big as shit.
148.
Let's go. See.
Wait, monster, you heard?
Guys, you want to come over here and square off?
You look like a monster.
One more, G.
You look like a monster.
Remember, safety and
You look like a monster. Oh my God.
We'll sweat, man.
Hey,
We'll sweat, man.
you like a monster, man. Monster, look at it.
Let's get it.
He's getting came early. Sure.
Go face out. Go face out.
Yeah, Thanksgiving came early, baby. Yeah, for sure. Uh-huh. So you got 1 hour midday?
Right here.
There you go.
Right there. Yeah.
I'll give
Well, we
Greg
got one more.
Whoa.
I guess we're gonna have to work that out a little bit.
Oh yeah, if you think we're staying the extra hour that he may or may not have to make weight, I'd advise you to come down to 2300 Arena to see that.
People may notice, seeing on the weigh-in the things that look like patches on Rashid Johnson. So those are blood sugar sensors. I'm pretty sure. cardiologist, not an endocrinologist, for just so people know. But he is a type 1 diabetic, and that's something that he's had to struggle with in his career. And he's actually, last time I spoke to him, he said that he feels like he's in a better place than he's been in a long time. And I think that continuous blood glucose monitoring, I think, is he's feeling a lot better with it.
Yeah, note the ironic thing about that, and I joke with him about it, so it's not a little out of line here. I joke with him, he's diabetic, yet his nickname is Sugar Sheep.
Right.
I mean, I don't. So it looks like Marshall and Rafiq Muhammad are seeing what particulars we can work out for this kind of fight.
Yeah, I don't see 5 pounds coming off.
Was it 47? Well, 48.
It would be 47 plus 1,
Yeah.
but I don't see 4 pounds coming off.
No.
I mean, he looks pretty thin. He looks like a muscular fighter.
Yeah.
This is somebody that we really don't know a whole lot about. He kind of has a good record, 4-0, but really hasn't fought anybody. So
Yeah, he's coming off a.
I don't want to say hasn't fought anybody, but he hasn't fought anybody that we would really recognize.
Look at his last 3 weights: 51 and a half, 51 and a half,
Right.
and 52 and a half. So
Kind of wonder there.
the combined record of the 4 opponents, it's 126-3.
Yeah.
And 2 of those guys went the distance with them. So that, just sometimes you got to look inside the numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and if you go back and look at what the BoxRec odds are, they reflect that. I think they have Rashid Johnson at 95% odds. So
92.
92. So, records aren't everything.
No, exactly. You don't fight records, you fight people. I was told that a long time ago by the great Don Elbaum.
That is certainly wisdom,
Absolutely.
I guess.
So we are winding down. We're just waiting for James Bernardine and Osvaldo Morales to weigh in here at the 2300 Arena, where we started a good 5+ hours ago. And, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, the first of a day-night doubleheader will kick in, featuring Divar Farhadi taking on Blake Mansfield in our main event. Terrific 5 fights to support that. And then our main event, it's beginning at 8 p.m., is Brandon Robinson taking on Jens Pllana. If you can't be here, and there's, like Andrew said, that there's a few tickets that may open up tomorrow. You can't be here, or if you're somewhere where you just can't get here without, a long commute or whatever, bxngtv.com, $19.95 each show. You can sit and watch boxing all day and all night. Get your favorite beverage. Order some food. Order some food, and you could order some lunch. You get one of those big sandwiches where you can have half of it for lunch and half of it for dinner. That's what I would do if I didn't have to be here tomorrow.
All sorts of ideas.
Yeah, if I didn't have to be here, got one of those big New York style delis.
I would want 2 different meals, personally.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's you.
Yeah, it's an occasion.
Yeah, but you can make two meals for the price of one. So you get one of those big New York deli sandwiches. You cut it in half. You have half of it for lunch, and then once the night portion starts about 8, you bring it out about 8:15. Get the second 6-pack after you finish the first one off, and it's a day night. Put it on your big screen. And how great is that?
It's a great idea.
It is a great idea. Wait until June 19th. There's like 5 boxing shows on June 19th. Don't forget, order Tribute to the Kings live on pay-per-view. Chavez Jr. against Anderson Silva in a terrific match. The MMA legend against the former middleweight champion of the world, live on pay-per-view June 19th. I sell you?
No.
Well, you'll get it.
No, I won't get that.
Well, there's 5 shows that day. So how many of those kind of meals do you think I'm going to have? I might be at 2 of those deli sandwiches.
I don't know. In person, I'm not going to be watching all 5 of those.
I'm not going to be able to because I
Even
can't.
if I was, I wouldn't.
No,
I got to be honest. I'm not a press guy. I just give my honest opinion. I'm like Teddy Atlas.
I'm not a press. I mean, I
I'm
love
not-
the sport, man.
You know, Chavez Jr. has not been a reliable.
But he's fighting Anderson Silva, the greatest MMA fighter of all time. It's the last ring appearance of Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. as he battles Hector Camacho in an exhibition bout.
It's like
How about Omar
it's
Chavez?
his 20th last appearance.
How about Omar Chavez taking on Ramon Alvarez, Canelo's brother, for the 3rd time? They're 1-1.
Yeah.
2 great fights to kick off the pay-per-view. And then we're going to announce on Mondays a great distribution deal where you can watch the 7 fights leading into the pay-per-view. Live from Jalisco Stadium in Guadalajara, Mexico. Live on pay-per-view, tribute to the Kings, Chavez Jr. versus Anderson Silva, just $39.95. I think it's $39.95.
Are they paying you?
Anyway, so
right now?
Anyway, that's June 19th.
I got to give Mark a hard time.
He always does. We have one more.
It's been a long day.
It's 6:49, 6:50 now Eastern time. What time do you think the last weigh-in goes on? If you to bet.
What the heck's taking so long?
How about they put them on the scale now and then do all the paperwork later? Is that possible? I don't know. You
certainly could, yeah.
Ever happened in one of your shows, or they just did it and did all the paperwork later?
No, I think Greg. Well, this is really the first time I've been in a weigh-in that the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commissioner has not. Maybe the second time.
I've been in a few with Greg. There's always
he runs a tight ship.
He does. He's one of, if not the best regulator in this country. So I know he wouldn't turn down Michaela Mayer against Alicia Baumgartner.
Yeah. And maybe nobody actually turned it down other than Team Mayer, or Team
That's
Top
possible.
Rank. We don't know the truth to that. But you're right. I can't see a commissioner turning that fight down.
And if you want to hear the sounds of Alicia Baumgartner, tune in to bxngtv.com tomorrow, 3 p.m., 8 p.m. One of the top female fighters in the country, in the world for that matter, ranked number 2 by the WBA.
So yeah, certainly in the world.
She'll be on the call with Rich Quinones. I'll be handling all the post-fight interviews. As we look forward to a big day and night of boxing action, Kings Promotions live at the 2300 Arena here in South Philadelphia. Just one more weigh-in to go. You're going to have like nightmares of sitting next to me, aren't you?
It's just, it's hard to fill this much time with topics.
Yeah, but that's why usually, they do the paperwork against one weigh-in after another, bang, 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 bang. I like that better. That's what I thought we'd be doing today. That was the method of my madness for setting up this this idea.
No, but I like the setup. I think this is going to be great. Especially like I said, once we get back, fully in person again.
I can sit here with some fighters in between. And
I mean, it's really going to be a nice setup. Maybe get a camera that you can work automatically, so you don't have to keep getting up and down.
What do you think? I'm like Eli Musk that I can got one of those can control things.
I bet that you could get a control for what you have right now.
You think so?
Yeah.
To have the thing turn around.
Yeah.
Well, do me a favor.
And then get a drone as well.
Do me a favor. Go on Amazon and look it up for me, please. As soon as this weigh-in's over, obviously we got to distribute the weights to the world press that awaits, and then I may watch some TV tonight. I think there's some NBA games on. The Phillies are actually playing right down the street.
Are they?
Starting in 7 minutes, their first full capacity game.
So they're at full capacity now?
Everything's full capacity.
Do you know how they did in terms of ticket sales?
I don't know, but it's weird. It's like really nice out right now. If you were here like an hour ago, it was like a monsoon here. I mean, we in between weigh-ins, we were just enjoying our cheesesteaks, and you could just hear the rain pound down on the 2300 arena roof.
You know, one of the things that I enjoyed doing a lot when I lived in Philly was back at the time when the Phillies had won their World Series. You know, they had a great team
2008,
during
yeah.
that time, and the stadium was relatively new. And you know, we would love to people from Jefferson, which is where I went to med school and did my residency. You know, we would go and get the standing room seats
Yeah.
in the outfield. You know, that was always a good time. And you know, I'm not a huge baseball fan. I was a bigger fan. I'm a front, you know, I was a front runner.
Yeah, I love the Phils. I'm going to watch the game tonight,
But that was always a good time.
even though they are not good. I was about to use another word, but there are people watching us, so I don't know. There could be kids in the room. I was going to use another word to describe the Phillies, but they're not good. One more weigh-in to go. James Bernardine and Osvaldo Morales. Where'd Marshall go? I think he didn't leave, did he? Nah, he's here. I actually hear him. I think our first show was an hour and 45 minutes. Let's see if it breaks. It's gonna be right on the cusp. I'll tell you right now. Hold on. I actually have 1 hour 45 minutes and 11 seconds. We're at 1:36:40 now.
I think we're going to be close.
It doesn't feel as long though for some reason. Maybe it's because of the sandwich or something.
That's possible. I was hurting there for a little bit.
See, this would be like back in the day. This was the normal time. They'd wait at like 5 or 6 o'clock, and you know this would be the normal time for an 8 o'clock show. So, just come to a long week. Any plans tonight? We're really stretching it here. Are you you're gonna be in Philly? So what are you gonna do? Just hang in the room?
Go get some drinks.
There you go.
Let Marshall get all the paperwork completed, all the tickets put into the proper envelopes. Go get a drink.
Hey, what do you? Well, we won't give anyone any free publicity. But.
That's right.
I'll give these tickets. I'll give the tickets.
Weigh-ins are very hectic for promoters, and I mean I don't, you know, now that I'm really Marshall does almost all of the legwork and of everything.
Well, what normally would you be doing now if you weren't sitting here with me? You'd probably be back at the holiday.
If I was, you know, in my current role with Kings, probably not a whole lot, but you know, if it was my own shows,
Oh yeah,
I mean,
well, that's different.
This is a real hectic time.
No, that's different. The hard work's over now.
Well, yeah, I don't put in the kind of hard work like that anymore. For Marshall, it's not. I mean, this is going to be a long night for him.
Anyone watching on the Kings Facebook page, leave us a message here or follow the money. Mark Abrams Boxing on Twitch, Mark Abrams Boxing, or actually at M. Abrams Boxing on Twitter. See all the destinations we're going to? Pretty impressive.
So, you know, you said that you're doing this show representing or doing it with in some way affiliation with this new sports book.
Sports book.
Is that not correct?
No,
out of the casino in Bethlehem.
No. Hey, if you can get me in there, I would love to do it though. You know people.
No, I don't know anybody. I was going to ask. There's no, because I'm not a betting person, so I don't pay attention to betting odds or anything like
I
that.
do. What do you want to bet?
No,
Let's put a bet in. today.
This is a question I have. There's no live betting on fights in Pennsylvania? Is that correct?
Like for shows like this, no. You can bet on the big fights, and then all the
Yeah.
fights on the premium networks and fights in England and stuff
Right.
like that. Why do you think I don't have to work anymore?
I have no idea. I thought you were independently wealthy.
Yeah, because of my betting prowess. Just kidding. Just kidding.
All right.
I don't bet. I maybe a couple bucks here or there, but not enough to make a living.
Yeah, I've never bet.
Never?
I couldn't even tell you how odds work.
I'll work on you. You'll be degenerate by the end of the weekend. So.
I
So
have
here,
no interest in that.
so here, I'm going to teach. You want me to teach you how?
No.
Sure.
Not right now.
It'd be good TV. So you don't even know anything about point spreads.
No, I don't really understand them.
Okay, so like for instance, the Clippers are 2.5 point favorites over the Mavericks.
All right,
Oh, you're saved. You're saved.
saved. All right, so Bernardine Morales weigh in now. This might steal the whole show, both shows tomorrow.
Ready? Come on up. Close right over here. Bernadine, right? Yep. Close right over here. Start over. James is 28 years old, right?
James Bernardine about to step on the scale. He's out of Lancaster, 3-0-1.
Bernadine up.
Former Pennsylvania State Golden Gloves champion.
Yeah, we're here, Bubba. This is for the promoters.
134.
James.
134.
134. 134.
James.
Mr. Miles.
It's my type of food, but yeah.
Shut down.
We have Luis Morales about to step on the scale. Fighting out of the Cameron Street Boxing Club in Harrisburg. 4-0 as a professional.
It's my food right here. Okay.
Pick up, please.
1337.
Oh.
Allison and Bernardine both make weight easy.
Guys, you want to clear off?
I'm ready to get out.
1337. 1337.
Stay on the opposite
side of the scale, guys.
Yep, one on one side, one on the other. Take the end of the bar.
Full face out.
All right, face out, gentlemen. We want to
Face
get
the
home.
cameras now.
Full face out.
Right, straight out.
James.
Thank you.
Well, Andrew,
So there you have it, Mark. I
There
don't
you
think
have-
you can just tell from looking at this weigh-in. This is a serious fight.
this is definitely a serious fight.
I mean,
They're all serious.
but you know it when you see them on the scales. Both these guys are real pros. They're here to both make statements, and they're in fantastic shape. They both easily made weight. This is going to be a heck of a fight.
Give me one or two final thoughts for tomorrow's whole day of action.
Good job, guys.
You got to watch. You got to watch. I mean,
Give me something. Come on.
I mean,
Sell
what do
the
you want me to make like you just messed up the sound.
Yeah, I
Mark.
just did mess up the sound. But I don't know why that messed up.
There we go. Yeah. So my final thought, I guess, is going to be that the Lolo Monroe fight is going to be the fight of the day and night tomorrow.
And that's the first fight of the day session, of the night
First
session.
fight of the night session. But I predict that the majority of fights tomorrow's show are going to be great fights, highly competitive, potential knockouts. But if they are knockouts, they're going to be spectacular knockouts. And really, I mean, I hope you can come in person, because watching these sorts of fights, streaming isn't the same as being here. But if you can't be here, then you definitely want to tune in to bxngtv.com.
That's what I was going to say. 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2300 Arena, live on bxngtv.com. Main event, Blake Mansfield taking on Divar Farhadi. I keep messing up his name, Farhadi. And at night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Brandon Robinson and Jens Pllana. 2 big super middleweight clashes. Highlight 2 cards, 3 p.m., 8 p.m., both Eastern Time. If you can't be here at the 2300 Arena, and just a few tickets are left. So if you plan on getting down here, get down here very early to get those last few tickets. If you can't be here, live on the internet, bxngtv.com. For Andrew Foy, I'm Mark Abrams. We'll see you tomorrow at the 2300 Arena here.